originally posted these exposed videos about Derrick on this channel last summer in 2020. After my second part 2 exposed video about him was uploaded to YouTube, I later received an email from Derrick, and in that email, Derrick threatened to commit a criminal act to me if I didn't delete both of the videos about him. So in a panic, not knowing if he would carry out that threat towards me, I deleted both of the videos about him. I then called his local police to report his criminal threat, and they told me that Derrick has to commit the crime before they can take action against him. They did, however, advise me to get a lawyer, which I ultimately obtained one. My lawyer had put a legal document together informing Derrick that we would take him to criminal court if he carries out his criminal act towards me. Also in that letter, it stated my relation to Derrick. That lawyer letter was a signature required, which Derrick's wife signed for. They received my lawyer letter on Saturday, and that following Monday, Derrick went to the courthouse to get a protection order against me. I shortly was served my summons to court. In the beginning stages of Derrick and I's relationship, Derrick had sent me an email with his contact information and other correspondence. Later, when I went to view the emails from him, I noticed that they were no longer in my email folder. At the time, I didn't think much about it, but never forgot that. So when Derrick sent me that threatening email, I remembered that. Derrick has an email service called expiring email, and after the email expires, it disappears from your email like it never even was sent to you. But since I had remembered those other emails of his disappearing, I figured that he had some type of expiring email service. So I screenshotted his threatening email, and I sent it to Derrick to let him know that I had record of it, which I'm sure that he was quite surprised to see that I had them, because I wasn't supposed to have it. Derrick's other reason for taking me to court was to make it seem like to his wife that I was just an obsessive woman over him, and he thought by taking me to court would give that impression to his wife about me. My lawyer had already told me that I was going to win my case. Derrick, in his panic and desperation to have his wife believe him, failed to research what a protection order was, which I didn't meet any of those criteria of it. Derrick and his wife looked very foolish in court. The judge had asked Derrick if I had ever threatened him, and Derrick said no, which is the whole purpose of a protection order. Derrick told the judge that all he wanted was for me not to contact him or make YouTube videos about him. Keep in mind, it was Derrick that had contacted me. Derrick had stood there in the courtroom with zero documentation to support his case. No phone records, no emails, no text messages, nothing, no police report. And I had all my documentation to show that it was Derrick that was contacting me. And I had tons of proof to prove that. So when it became my turn to speak, I told the judge the whole situation between me and Derrick, and the real reason why we were both there. And as expected, Derrick and his wife's case got dismissed. Speaking of wives, I don't think that we should ignore the fact that Derrick lied about both of his wives being deceased. Questions really need to be raised on what type of person would have such a dark mind to lie about something so horrible. Not only did Derrick lie to me about his wives being deceased, but he had also lied to others with that same lie. Because Derrick is in rebellion against God and has a void of any light inside of him, he is unable to recognize the severity of the spiritual darkness that has overtaken him. In my part 2, I had mentioned that another woman that Derrick also pretended to want to marry said that they were told the same thing about Derrick's wife. Derrick had told me that his current wife was dead until he had to come clean and tell me the truth about her because I showed him with recent photos of her that she wasn't dead. He then changed it to his first wife being dead and that he was telling me the truth about that. So the other person that he also did this to informed me that Derrick was lying about his first wife being dead as well. That other person that he did this to actually spoke to his first wife, and she was alive and well. I guess she must have resurrected from the grave after Derrick pronounced her dead.
May I have a glass of water, please?
Because I also wanted to testify that Derrick's first wife was still in fact alive, I went to look her up myself so that I as well could verify that she was still alive. If you look at Derrick's text to me, he states that his wife is dead. I blacked out part of her name, but you can still see her initials. I'm getting ready to show you those same initials. As you can see, it lists Derrick as one of her relatives. I had to black out her other related people on there. You will also see that her address is still showing current. I also investigated other sources that confirm that she is still active in society. What also makes Derrick even more dangerous is that he comes across as a nice, good, godly guy. And you would never thought of him to be anything else until he bit you. Us true believers really need to keep our guard up, because just because someone says they believe in Jesus doesn't always mean that they follow him.
You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful.
God viewed adultery in such a high offense that adulterers were brought out into public for the whole community to watch their stoning as a result of their sin. This type of offense was not done in private. Jesus never rebuked the Pharisees for the actual stoning of that adulterous woman, but rather his rebuke was because of their hypocritical actions. Even though we no longer stone adulterers, they still need to be called out into the open when they have placed themselves in a leadership role. When you take on that role, you no longer have the luxury of privacy when it concerns matters such as this.
We see pastors getting exposed more and more all the time. This false teacher, John Gray, that did that dumb reality show, he just came out recently, was exposed and committed adultery. Now it's public. I mean, it's just a mess. It's all over the internet. It's all over the place on talk shows. I mean, it's just public like that. And of course, him and his wife are making excuses. He's talking about, the devil's always busy and there are voices in my head and I just listened to the wrong voice. And he's blaming the woman he cheated on like she's some Jezebel, like she put a gun to his head, taking zero responsibility for his actions.
Derrick just got finished speaking about how John Gray, the pastor caught in adultery, blames the other woman like she's some kind of a Jezebel, and that John Gray is taking zero responsibility for his actions. Well, one might say that Derrick is doing the same exact thing. Derrick is still not being honest and confessing his faults. Derrick had made a rap song referencing me in it, and in that song, he's saying that I'm a Jezebel and that I'm playing victim to get YouTube followers to side with me, and that I am slandering. Also, underneath that video in the description box, Derrick had wrote that I was a Jezebel enticing people to sin with me. In my part 2 video, I showed a picture that Derrick had sent unrequested by me. It is clear that it was Derrick that was doing the enticing. And as far as me playing the victim, I confessed my fault and foolishness, and all my videos have been backed up with proof despite Derrick's claims of me slandering. My evidence in my videos speaks for itself. His whole rap song showed how unrepentant and unashamed he is, and only wants to blame others for his wrongdoings. I also want to point out that Derrick knew that people would be curious about his channel after viewing my exposed videos about him. If you look at Derrick's views on his videos, you will see that he averages around 200 to 300 views, and that's where it usually plateaus at. So him really wanting those viewers from my exposed videos about him to view the video that referenced me in, he went and purchased views, likes, and probably even comments to beef up the numbers on that particular video. Derrick knew that would most likely draw people to that video and have them click on it. He also purchased views for the 2 following videos with lesser views to make it look less obvious that that was what he was doing. It's very easy to purchase views, likes, subs, and even comments. In my opinion, it is a very deceiving and manipulating practice. It also truly shows the character of people who do that, and they should be ashamed of themselves. I don't know if any of my exposed videos on Derrick will stop his extramarital affairs or not, but I do feel fairly confident that this will be the last time that he will ever deceive a woman into pretending to wanting to marry her.